Seguim endavant amb la resta de la programació de l'Àgora Port. Seguim avui amb temàtiques directament relacionades amb la Copa Amèrica. The following panel focuses on how AC75 has transformed America's Cup. We are going to explore its design, its technology, on the future of sailing. And to explore in this topic, we are joined by leading experts such as Joseph Ozanne, simulator lead Alinghi Red Bull Racing, and Roger Frigola, director of optimization department and Emirates Team New Zealand. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure for us to have you here in the Àgora Port. The first question is a must. We have always seen boats sailing on the water and skimming over it, and now in the America's Cup, we see them fly. How come? What's the answer for that?
Why do they fly? It's just a way for us to go faster. So it's still a sailboat. We need the wind to go forward. It's still a boat that, like any normal sailboat. The only thing is we find ways to go faster, and the best way to go faster is to be above the water. So that's why we have boat now that flies, and flying above the water, it's a way to get rid of the resistance of the water, and that's why we are able to accelerate more, and the boats become like kind of airplanes, and that's the way that's the best way we found. I mean, not we, but in general in the physics, so we can go faster and getting races more interesting. So the main differences of these boats of the America's Cup are this foiling that for some of us are a revolution, but I guess it is not. So from your point of view, Roger, what makes them fly?
Well, it's what Joseph said, right? Like not touching the water. If you can lift all the boat and all that surface that was touching, and it's slowing you down. If you take it off, then it's not slowing you down anymore, right? So this is the main driver. And then you still have a rudder under the water. You still have like a keel in some sense, and sails, which are the main elements that what you really need for sailing.
We are seeing some pictures of this AC75 with its foils, this monohull. Sailing them is spectacular. It's really thrilling. But what are the ideal weather conditions to see them at their best? How fast can they go?
Yeah, I guess between 8 and 20 knots, they are very, very comfortable, those boats. And I wouldn't say it's more exciting. Well, maybe when it's windier, there's more room for error from the sailors, and maybe that makes it more exciting to watch. But the boats look spectacular even when the winds are pretty low, because the boat is flying already and going really quick.
How many knots do we need to see them at least flying a little?
Something around 7, which is pretty low. Yeah.
Like a day, as today?
Yeah, right now.
Next year?
Yeah, I mean, right
if
now
we have this weather,
in the morning,
how is it going
it's
to
a
be?
bit light, but all these days, I mean, we've been sailing, I mean, you two as well, we've been sailing all week, and the week was spectacular, very good condition, so with the wind was ideal for sailing these boats. But like in terms of condition, it's still a sailboat, so you need wind, and so if there is no wind, there is not only no flight, but you can't even move forward. So it's still, even though it looks spectacular, and it doesn't need to fly to sail, so it's still a boat, like everybody knows a sailboat, and the only thing is in certain conditions that we can find here in Barcelona, you will have the right condition to go faster. As Roger said, like 6-7 knots, we can start having decent condition to start a race and to fly above the water, and it's going to be very, very spectacular to see. And then we can go up to very strong wind. I think the limitation is more like with the waves and how because the boats are flying very low, And so depending on the sea state and the wave that can be pretty strong here in Barcelona, it could affect the racing. But apart from that, it's still we shouldn't forget that it's still a normal sailboat.
We had the example of Villanova. We didn't have enough wind to be able to see the final match. I hope that this is not going to happen next year here in Barcelona, but we never know.
Right.
As I said before, for some of us, foiling boats seem a revolution, a recent revolution, but I guess it is not. Do you think the foiling, is it here to stay?
So, no, it's not recent. I mean, they've been, because, I mean, that's the physics. You try to go above the water just to go faster, so it's been present in the maritime industry for decades. And the first foilers were, it's early 19th century, and it was like, they've been, it's been something for a long time around, but the thing is, in racing, it appears, initially it appears in, for the America's Cup in San Francisco in 2013, and it was initiated by Team New Zealand actually, and so it's really a true revolution for racing. So that's really something that it changed. I think it changed forever the way we are racing. We're racing in general. I mean, we are doing regattas. So these foils and this flight is it's something I'm pretty convinced it's here to stay, just because the boats are faster, and obviously people want to see faster boats, and it's like in racing car you are more excited by Formula One or this car that go fast because it's more spectacular. So I think foiling it's mandatory for that, and I don't see a way back now.
No.
Do you think it's going to stay?
Of course, yeah. There will always remain the two options, right? There will always have foiling. We will have foiling and non-foiling boats in general, but at the top level, I would expect foiling to stay forever because it's great to watch and the speeds are amazing.
Barcelona water conditions will influence for the current development of the AC75s of the teams. I know you cannot provide further details. I'm not asking for that. But from your point of view, what difference are going to be of the boats designed to race in Barcelona from the ones designed for Auckland?
So Auckland was the Bay of Auckland is like a kind of closed environment, so you can always find there's a lot of different bays, and so you can always find a spot with good conditions. So if it's too windy, you go somewhere else, and if it's too wavy, you go somewhere else where the sea state condition is flatter. So here in Barcelona, I think the biggest difference is it's the waves. So how the waves are affecting the sailing, because you cannot hide anywhere here. You just it's an open sea, and you cannot really go. It's hard to find a place where the conditions are different. So in terms of design, the most challenging part was for sure to adapt to the sea state and to see how we can still manage these boats. They are very tricky to sail. We can manage the waves here in Barcelona. So in that sense, it's very different from what we've been experiencing last campaign in New Zealand. Yeah. But,
what do you think, Roger?
Yeah.
Do you share this point of view?
Yes, and also there's the sailing technique aspect. So there's the design aspect, and also how do you train to perform as well as possible with the waves, right? Like it introduces an extra element of being careful of the waves that could throw you out of position, right? In a flat sea, everything is easier to do. When there are waves, the technique becomes more important, and how all your systems are set up to cope with this. This is a lot of engineering effort that needs to be spent.
So the wave of Barcelona is really conditioning the development of the AC75.
It's one aspect, yes. It's one aspect to take into account, and especially when we are here testing it's what you really want to understand, right? What's specific about here that we cannot test easily in simulation or in Auckland.
They say that we are going to see lighter boats. I don't know if these changes in the designs are going to be visible to the eyes of the spectator.
You will see there are 3 fewer sailors, so it will be 8 sailors instead of 11 for the last cup. And you will see no movement of sailors from one side to the other, which in the last cup, sometimes we still had some people jumping from one side to the other.
Yeah.
You will see the bikes on the boats that will come again. So they were legal in Bermuda, but they were not legal in Auckland 2021, and they will be legal again. So those are visible changes. The general shape of the boat is similar. The wings will be have a larger wingspan, so they will be longer, the wings underwater for the foils, which brings a bit of extra efficiency.
Maybe you can explain it better.
But I don't think that's going to be visible to the spectator.
Maybe it's more technical. Would you?
Yeah, for the general public, I mean, the people can already see this boat sailing here, and they saw them in Villanova, and it's going to be a bigger version of the boat they saw in Villanova, and to the general public, it will look very similar to the previous generation. For us in the design, obviously, it's not the same thing because we are playing with a box rule. It's heavily regulated, so we've got a very thick book of rules where we need to play within the rule to build and design and build the fastest boat. So for us as engineer and the design teams, it's changing quite a lot from one cycle to another one. For the general public, it's very similar. The boat will look very similar. Again, it's like I take again the analogy of Formula One. Between one season and another season, there are changes in the rule that obviously the teams are very concerned by the changes, but for the general public, it looks very similar. So we expect to see, I mean, next year when it's going to be racing time, we expect to see the boat will look from the outside very similar. But for us, obviously, we are looking forward to this moment where we know that there are like tiny changes, tiny differences in the background, and that's where we're going to focus our attention for sure.
And you are not going to tell them to us now?
I will not tell you what we're preparing for sure, and I'm sure Roger will not tell you what is.
This following question, I already put them to the athletes. How much the design is based on computer, and how much it depends on the opinion of the sailors?
So I guess the athlete before, I mean, I didn't listen to the entire panel before, but they will tell you they are very important, and the engineers, they will tell you that we are very important. But in general, it's very much of it's a very nice balance between both. So you cannot win if you don't have a fast boat, and but you cannot win if you don't have the right athletes. So it's really we need to have a right mix of I mean, right alchemy between all the components. The design aspect is fundamental. It has been fundamental in the America's Cup since the beginning. From the very first America's Cup to this one, it's one of the most important aspects. And there are like we've got tens of engineers working on that full time for years. So especially now, the boats we are designing the boat in 3 dimensions because they are flying above the water. So it brings extra complexity, extra resources, some different type of engineering profile, and so the design aspect, the need of using computers and data it's mandatory.
It's a global interaction.
Yeah.
What do you think, Roger? Would you like to add anything in this question? How much does it depend on the opinion of the sailors, and how much it depends on the data, on the computer information?
Yeah. Some aspects of boat performance, it's physics which determines what's the fastest thing, right? It's nature which tells you that some shapes are better than others. And that doesn't depend on the sailor who's sailing the boat. But there are other aspects in terms of control, how you sail as a human, how do you want to control the boat, that can be decided by the sailors, right? Like, what do they control with their buttons and their levers? So all these aspects of how do you configure the boat to perform the best, the sailors are very heavily involved with engineers. So not so much for the shapes or what you see with your eyes, but for how do you control the boats. That's an aspect where sailors are much more in the loop.
Are very involved.
Yeah.
How is the process for developing the boat designed to win? How many people participate on this process?
So to design the boat, at the beginning, it's maybe 20 persons or something like this. And for us, I mean, I guess each team is different. Now we are a bit more than 30 persons in the design team. And mainly, I would say, there are two big aspects of the physical design. One is the fluid aspect, so understanding what are the aerodynamics, what the air is doing on the boat, on the sails and on the hull, so everything that's above the water. And the other aspect is what the water is doing on the foils and on the rudder, and on the hull when the hull is on the water. Mm-hmm. So there is this aspect of understanding the fluids, and there's the other aspect of actually drawing a boat, right? Like saying it will have this shape and it will not break. So more like the mechanical part. And in between, there is the simulation group that puts it all together and says, look, that's what I predict, that's the performance I predict this boat will have, even before the boat is built. So lots of the design we do is in simulation, right? We don't build, we are only allowed to build a boat in this cup.
So it's a learning process, you mean?
So it's a learning process, and lots of it is in simulation to decide what are you going to build.
What is going to be the best decision for the
exactly.
development?
You take the decisions based on simulation results, and then eventually you build it in real, right?
Are we running out of time? We have 1 year to see the races. It's enough time to developing a boat like that, a boat to win?
If you ask, it's like the previous panel. If we have more time, we will use it. That's for sure. You always want more time, but on the other hand, it's good to have a deadline, because if not, we will research forever. So I'm pretty sure every single team has already they started to build their boat. So I'm pretty sure somewhere in their country of origin they are building their hull. So. This campaign, we are allowed to build one boat, so we spend, like Roger said, we spend a lot of time on the computer to simulate the physics and the structural component of the boat, so to make sure that what we decided, that every single team decided to build, will be the right choice. But then, and for that part, if a team didn't start its building, yes, the team is out of time. But then what we have to keep in mind is they are now fairly complex boat to sail, so the sailors need to learn how to sail the boat. They need to learn how to use the systems to actuate all the function on board. And once we put the boat in the water, there is a long process to sail the boat at its best. So I think, and that also requires time, and it's a bit more complex than just going sailing with a small dinghy, you know. So all this process takes time, and we have to practice. So we practice in simulators, but we practice also on the water with the new design, and then they will learn, and how much will improve sailing our boat will take time, and that's the best team that utilize this time the best. they will be obviously more prepared to go at the regatta.
Do you think that having experience in an America's Cup developing an AC75, it means a lot of advantage? In other words, Switzerland is in disadvantage?
I mean, with Switzerland in the team, I mean, Alinghi Red Bull Racing obviously was not involved in the last America's Cup, but so for the athletes, none of our sailors were involved in the America's Cup in the past. It's not exactly the case for designers and many people in our team were involved in the previous campaign. I mean, personally, I've been involved with the Americans in the past, and so it's not our first America's Cup, so we try to bring this experience to the team. Obviously, for the sailors, it's a challenge because they've never been racing with these boats. I mean, in our case, in the Swiss team, none of the sailors ever sailed on an AC75 in the past. So it's obviously a long process, and it's not an advantage, that's for sure. But we do our best to overcome this weakness, and we do our best to help the sailing team to be ready for that. So obviously we want to turn this disadvantage into a strength and bring some fresh blood and fresh mind and brand new ideas.
That's
for that.
Very important
so
too.
That's very important.
Roger, what do you think? Do you really think that having background on the developing on a boat is an advantage? And
yes.
The teams that have not had this experience are a disadvantage?
Of course, having designed one of those boats before, you already know what to look next, right? But I mean, teams like Alinghi, they've been very successful in the past, so there's no reason to believe that they won't be successful this time, of course.
A good boat is key to winning the cup. I would like you to explain me a little bit about the spying between teams. How is it nowadays? How do you protect your training? How do you protect the developing of the boats? How is your everyday routine from the spying perspective?
It's been very different this campaign, and because there are very big restrictions on spying on the other team, and traditionally in the America's Cup, spying is a big deal. This time it's very different because we've got official spies. So, which means that every time a team goes sailing, all the other teams receive a report and of photos, videos, and a bit of data and a report of what they have been doing. So basically, the spying is done for us. We are not in charge of spying the other team. So it's on that part, it's a bit less of let's say, of a constraint or something like that. But on the other hand, you always want, I mean, we are following that very, very closely. You always want to know what the others are doing, what they're up to, and why did they go out this day in this condition, and what we try to look at the video and just to try to understand, because a lot of it, it's hidden in the background, and you don't really see that. You don't see what's happening inside the boat, in the computer that is on board. You don't know what he's doing, and you don't know how they're controlling the boat. And all these little details that are fundamental details for designing the boat, and that's something we would like to know, and obviously we don't have it. We have to guess.
Roger.
Yeah, I think this new spy system is very nice, especially because like the amount of public information that's available. Like every day, if you are a member of the public, you can also see part of the spy reports, like and see a report of what the boats have been doing, which I think is pretty cool from a general public perspective.
Can you explain? Can you give us some details about how it works? I mean, so every team is in charge of another team, or how does it go?
I don't know all the little details, but essentially everyone is putting money into the same pot to pay a group of spies, and everyone is sharing the information afterwards.
But isn't that a little bit naive?
If we don't follow the process, it's illegal. So it's not naive. It's just every single team follows the rule. So we won't. It's forbidden for us to go on the water and to produce our own pictures. I mean, Roger personally cannot take his phone and go on the water and take a video of the other competitor. It's forbidden. So if he's doing that, the team is at risk and they will have sanctions.
Yeah, for security it's better.
So we are all playing this game, and it's actually, we've got a very nice source of information from the other team. It's actually, most of it is actually public. You can go on the America's Cup website and read recon reports, and it's very interesting. So sometimes my own kids, they are telling me what happened on the other team, and they just say, I've been reading that Luna Rossa or Team New Zealand have been doing this, and I was not aware, and I just go and I find the report, and so it's very, very convenient for that part. And sometimes there is a bit of frustration because you would like to know a bit more information about things, and the spies didn't follow that part, but that's part of the game. And so it's.
But can you tell the spy
tomorrow
follow that part of the boat?
Yes, we can. You can ask.
You can give instructions to the spy.
Exactly. No, it's a very, very nice system.
So they can focus on the part you are interested in.
Exactly. No, it's a very nice system. It works very well, and I find it very well organized for that part.
Is the first time that you are using this system? Do you think it's going to stay?
I hope so.
For following editions of the America's Cup, do you think it will work?
In the America's Cup, you never know what's next, so you don't know. I think it's a good idea. I mean, we'll see if it stays.
Do you think that the foil, we were talking about foiling, has opened a new era in sailing? You were saying before, some minutes ago. Can we expect to see more regattas with foiling systems, with foiling boats?
Yeah, of course. I think all across sailing we are seeing foiling.
Another regattas, yes. Yeah. Do you see them?
I mean, the first like big fleet of foiling boats were what they call moth. It's a small dinghy, and it's a very small boat for one single person. And there have been a lot of races foiling before the foiling America's Cup, and that's been something very popular. Now here, I mean, in Barcelona, on the coast of Barcelona, you see people flying wings on their board, that foiling kites, and they see foilings everywhere. So it's really for the public. And in terms of races, I mean, we see the AC40 in Villanova, and I think the intention is to build a class that will be able to popularize a bit more these boats. And that's something that, and we start to see foils on different boats. I mean, it's obviously it's the beginning of a process. It's a bit of an expensive process, expensive process. So I don't know how much is gonna go down to the general public.
Yeah.
But for sure, it became a very strong component of sailing, and I don't think it will change for that part.
See, I was going to ask you that. How long do you think it would last to see this foiling in the ordinary boats? For cruising, for example.
Yeah.
Cruising boats.
Maybe for cruising, it's harder.
You won't see them.
No. Just because of the weight. Like the boats are heavier and are more optimized for having fun and having a barbecue. It's not sports, right? It's the same thing as having a car for the family. It's not the same as having a single-seater for racing where you go with a helmet. So it's a different kind of use of a vehicle. Pure racing is one thing, and transporting people and having fun with friends is another.
But do you think it's a way to engage more people? You know that from a teenager point of view, it's, for example, more attractive to see a foil than to see an ordinary boat like an Optimist or a Europe class because of, the speed that it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, we should ask the kids, but yes, I mean, it's obviously something very appealing, and it sounds fun, and it's fast, and you want to go fast, so it's a way of. So I think it's something that here to stay.
This panel is very interesting. I think we can open to our public if maybe anybody is interested in putting any questions. We have a mic that is available. Anyone that would like this engineers to answer the questions.
Okay, I have a question. From the innovation point of view, where do you see more room for improvement or more future in the different new technologies? I'm sure you use simulation, digital twin, or new materials, or where do you see that new technologies will help more or will be more implemented into America's Cup? You have to bet on one or two.
You want to bet something?
I'm not sure, actually. Because I think we can improve in everywhere. We can improve how we understand the physics of the boat better, like the fluids. Modeling, understanding fluids is still a very hard thing to do, so we are not there yet. We can do better things to understand the data we collect. So in terms of artificial intelligence and data analysis, all this we can do much better. I don't know where the limit is. And I think we need to improve in all directions.
I think that the beauty of it, we spend a lot of time engineering the boat, a lot of money in building these teams, and we are playing with physics. And at the end, it's the nature, and we cannot cheat with that. And the good thing, I think, for the sport in general and for the America's Cup and for the teams in general is we cannot model everything, and there are things that are very hard to model. And so we are not at the stage to press a button on a computer and say, this is a design, and we're going to win with that. It's not like that. It's not black and white. So there are still unknown. There are still areas where we need to do assumptions, where we cannot model exactly what's going to happen. We are still uncertainty. And then, so we need to improve in that direction. So to make sure that we understand everything that happened on the water. We are not there yet, and I don't even think we'll be there one day, because we always improve everywhere. So I think it's a core understanding of what really makes the boat fast, what is a magic recipe to win the regatta, I don't know. And that's where we work in every single department, but at the end it's nature, and we are playing with nature and physics. So no one here is able to tell you with certainty that in a year time, here in Barcelona, we'll have this exact condition. It's impossible. So we can make models, we can assume, but nobody will know. Weather prediction are good, but we don't know exactly with a lot of accuracy what's going to happen. So we'll always have these uncertainties, and we have to play with these uncertainties. So the margin of progression is to reduce this uncertainty, to understand the best what we can do around that, to maximize our chance of winning. But it's still a game that we have to play, so we cannot. There are answers that we'll never have. So, yeah.
Joseph, I want to put another question that we already hear it in the last panel, in the previous panel. Simulators are increasingly used in the training method. How important are they from your point of view?
I think they are fundamental. Not only because Archer and myself we are very involved in simulators, but that's a fundamental tool. Because it's for us a way to, there are many different aspects in simulators, and one very basic aspect is for us, it's a common language with the sailors. So on the engineering group, we often are a way of seeing things which is very data-driven, we need curves and equation and numbers, where the sailors, they need feelings, and they need they have their own way of sailing the boat. So for us, a simulator, it's just a common language, so we can be all together in the same room and discuss about something which we both understand. So that's a very important way of, it's a communication tool among the team. And then, obviously, we model as much as we can what's going to happen. So that's what we're just saying initially, where it's for us a way to make sure that the boat we're going to build is the right one. We are deciding very core choices, the shape of the hull, the shape of the foil, are decided in simulator. And all these aspects are fundamental, and that's a mandatory tool for all the teams.
Roger?
Yeah, I think simulators are already now extremely important.
Extremely
important. They are fundamental to the way we operate. So it's not a thing of the future. It's totally right now. Like
for everything.
We would
for the sailors, for the designers.
For everyone, it's a key part of the way we work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, then we finish here this interesting panel. Thank you so much, Joseph, Roger. We learned a lot also, like in the previous panel. I think they deserve a round of applause. So they have been great panelists, haven't they?